Okay, so this right here is our homemade teardrop camper that me and my dad started probably close to a year ago now. And that may seem like a good amount of time. However, it's done now, and it's been done for about 6 months. It did not take us that long to build, but it is taking me this long to get these videos out. So the last video on this teardrop camper was released a couple months ago. So if you missed those, there's a playlist on my channel that you may want to go check out. And believe it or not, I think this is going to be the last build video in this series. I think after this it's done. So we're going to start this video off with cutting down and installing a mattress. We just came back from our little test drive. If you want to see that, that's actually in the last video on this thing. But now we're looking at finally putting a mattress in here. And I think from wall to wall, it's 55.5. We are going to have to cut down a mattress a little bit. So this mattress down here is a mattress out of actually that camper, which is here because, you know, it did what campers do and it's rotten, and he's trying to replace a lot of the floor in it. This is the old mattress out of it, so it's free. So we're going to use it. We're going to cut probably 5 inches off of it to right here. And that should narrow it up a little bit to get it in that camper. And we have an ingenious device on how to cut this foam. You'll see that here in a second. But I guarantee you everybody probably has one of these. Well, I guess if you don't like turkey, you don't have one, but they're readily available.
It's a very specific tool that we have to use right here. It's a Hamilton Beach carve and set. I don't know what that means, but anyway, it was $8 at a thrift store, so it's got to be a good one. And you just won't believe how good these things work for cutting this foam.
It's a turkey cutter.
It's an electric carving knife
For turkey.
and it works really
And
good.
it comes with a serving fork.
Yeah,
So that's how you, I don't know, you can use that somehow.
you can use that to hold this piece weight. Oh, that's got
Yeah, it's got like eggshells
got
on
an
it.
egg crate in it. Now, do we want to mark this, or we're going to do like we usually do and eyeball it and go?
I think we need to mark it.
Really?
That way we can get, well, like dots every once in a while so we can keep track.
Well, here, you mark it.
Yeah.
Slicing like butter.
Like turkey, actually.
Getting off your line.
I can't see the line.
Look what a pretty cut.
Yeah. Now we got a neck pillow.
That's what I was thinking we'd do with this and put it up there at the end.
Watch it. Yeah, we could do something with it.
Because this, we actually have the length for a full-size queen. But this is a short queen. It's 75 inches long instead of 80 inches long.
Now we just need to do that. Probably sew it a little bit. And put it in there. And there's it sewed. Just folded it over and, you know.
Sewed it right down this backside right here.
Yeah,
Can't
sewed
hardly tell.
sewed it the whole way.
Yep. Didn't take long.
No, it really didn't.
Now we're ready to go see if it'll fit.
Yeah, it should fit. That's how it looks up top too. Just took 5 inches off of it.
Yep. Try not to rip it over the door. Yeah. Ow! Don't rip your finger.
Yeah. Wow, there's a box in the corner. We ain't got that much room right here like we thought we would. Thought maybe put some shoes there. Maybe some toddler shoes.
I think one pair of shoes right here is about all you got.
Yeah. Ugh. It's cozy. Up.
So it's been a little bit since we worked on this thing. In fact, I don't even remember what the last thing we like showed y'all is. We just had to work on some other projects. So we got this thing back out of storage. Went over today, hooked it up, put it back on the trailer. We do need to figure out a better way of getting it on and off of the trailer. What we had in mind before, which was ratchet straps. Didn't really work that good. It did work, but it didn't really work all that great. However, these worked really good. Being able to, you can actually position it pretty good just by like tightening these to move it forward and backwards and stuff. That was really simple. So that worked pretty good. But now there is just a few little things that we need to do to actually finish this camper up. First biggest thing is some jacks or like stabilizers. So we ordered these off Amazon. This is it right here. So this is going to attach kind of up on the frame like that. You can see the mounting holes. And then this is going to swing down and kind of, you know, stabilize it. I've got this one set up right here. Obviously it's going to go under the frame. That's pretty much how it's going to work right there. So we got 4 of those, one for each corner. Just in case you set this thing up for like a weekend, it'd be super stable on all 4 corners. We also ordered a battery charger, actual battery charger, because prior to this, the only way to charge this battery is with the solar panels, and we need a little bit more better way of doing that.
And it's full lithium batteries.
For that, yes, which is what we have. Also, what I need to accomplish is somewhere we've got some sealant where we put these into the frame with some lag bolts. We never did seal around this, so I need to do that. So those are going to get sealed. Just a bunch of little small stuff. Yeah, we're going to use Lexel. That's what we've been using this whole time. Like small stuff like this right here. I need to get a screen, like a window screen like I have on the other windows. Also need to put a chain on this door to keep it from going open too far, which is what it does now. And somewhere in here I've got a shelf that I want to modify to have some storage on each side of the bed up there. I want to do that as well. So just a bunch of little small stuff that we need to accomplish, and then this thing will be ready for its first trip. First maiden voyage. And it's currently cold right now. It's like December something. We started this. When did we start this?
I don't know. It was warm weather.
We started this before I started teaching. And I started teaching in August. So we started this June or July. And the plan was to have our first like maiden voyage when it was not cold. But it looks like it's going to have to be cold for the first maiden voyage. Or at least I'm going to go. I don't know if he'll go.
Warm up in the spring.
Yeah, I ain't waiting that long. I think for the first maiden voyage, I'm going to take this thing behind a Cracker Barrel or a Walmart parking lot and just spend the night in their parking lot. Just to see how it'll do.
You still got to have curtains.
Oh yeah, and I need curtains. I forgot about that. Definitely need curtains. But there's a mattress and stuff in here now. I think we did that in the last video. That may have been the last thing that y'all saw.
You spend the night in it in here in the garage?
I could do that, but I'd rather go somewhere different. Like go a town over and spend it in their Walmart or something. I don't know. Seems to work pretty good.
This is hitting.
Yeah.
I don't know how much that bothers you.
It don't.
Well, if they get to where they don't come out, then all you got to do is...
Yeah, just pull that. Now, what was you saying on your pop-up? You just stood on this?
Yeah.
Because they had this style.
Well, this is a little bit heavier.
They had this style on a pop-up probably 80 years ago. You just...
Yeah.
I missed it, but you just stood on it and pulled it up.
Yeah. But this is a little bit heavier.
Oh. That's what the thing is for.
I just stood on it.
Well, that'll work too. Then it just does that.
Yep.
This is how it's supposed to work with the rod.
Put the rod through, and it goes through this hole right back here, and then
You do that, and it lifts up the
Then
camper.
you can go another step if you need to. I don't know why they give you such a short rod, but they do. You could actually take this and release it, but I'm not seeing that because anyway, you can still step on this right here to release it and it come up.
Yep. This back is done. They're not the most impressive units out there. And the price certainly reflects that, because I think these are pretty cheap. I think a set of 4 is right around $50. He picked these up because this is like the style he had on a Teardrop camper back in the day, and they work pretty good. And they do work pretty good. Ain't got a lot of support side to side. There's just a lot of play in like the whole mechanism. But it does sturdy it up very good. It's just like this right here. I'm bouncing if you can't tell. That's pretty good. Pretty happy with them. Yeah, we lost a little bit of ground clearance. But like I keep saying, if we're somewhere, if I take this thing somewhere, because I'm probably taking this out west at some point, and I get in a situation with this camper, or I bottom these things out and it becomes an issue, that's just my fault. I shouldn't have been out there to begin with. This is not like an overland camper where I'm going to put 35s on it. This is just a drive it to the middle of the desert, park it, you're done. You're not going to be taking this on any trails, so shouldn't be an issue. It's getting pretty cold, so I don't think I'm going to do anything else tonight, but tomorrow, which for y'all is going to be like a good 3 seconds, we're going to caulk these mounting holes up, put 2 more jacks on, or 2 more of these like stools. What are these things called? Stabilizers on. So I need to go get more hardware, which I'm going to do here in a second. We can go ahead and put the remaining 2 jacks on. We're going to go ahead and put 2 more on the front because we have them, and just extra stability. And then we can seal up some holes and start working on the other little stuff I've talked about in this video. All right, there's the other 2 stabilizer jack thingies on. Definitely not jacks, but they're stabilizers. So there is 1 on each corner now. That's probably overkill for something like this, but it's solid now. Side to side, it's got a little bit. It's not the most sturdy thing for sure. These things do have a lot of play side to side in them, which is kind of, it's just the way they are. They were cheap. It's not bad though. Definitely keeps the rear end from going down when you sit on it without it hooked up to a vehicle. This one's crooked. Don't pay attention to that one. That one's crooked. But the rest of them are actually pretty good. So now we can go ahead and transition to sealing these sides right here, where the turnbuckles bolt into the side of the camper. We can go ahead and start working on that now, because I think that is the last thing that needs to be sealed up on this thing. If you're curious, I'm going to show you how these sides come down on this trailer. It's actually pretty cool. It's got different pin locations. That way you can pretty much have a flatbed trailer if you want it. And then when you need it, you can put the sides up. So this does that. And if you had the gate on it, you'd have another one of those in the back. But then you just have these pins. And that's how that works. If you wanted to, there's a pin location like right there to have the sides like kind of like laying like that. But if not, they kind of just lean against the tire. And that's pretty handy every once in a while. And I guess you can use it as like a step if you wanted to get an extra, 4 inches off the ground. Okay, so that's done. Definitely looks awful. I went ahead and caulked all the way around the outside. We use this stuff because some of the last stuff my dad used on his J-code that somebody recommended, it's just cracking and to pieces. It's been less than a year and it's cracking just instantly. I don't know. It looks terrible. Definitely going to leak, so he needs to reseal everything again pretty much. That one looks especially terrible because this one has a bolt with a washer, so I had to seal around the washer too. I don't know. I don't think it's going to leak. Definitely looks awful, but that's fine. I'd rather have it look, you know, not as good as it did before than have it leak. So that needs to dry, and then we can go ahead and put the turnbuckles back on and then put the gates back up and stuff. Right now what we're working on is this door back here needs a catch or a chain to keep it from opening all the way. All right, so before we get to like whatever we're going to use to keep this door from opening all the way, I did go ahead and paint one of these screens from that old camper we picked up. If you haven't watched, all these windows came from a really old camper that we were kind of just given permission to take stuff out of. This is one of the screens for it. I just hit it with some matte black. I didn't paint the black at the back because didn't feel like it. The rest of the window frames in there are semi-gloss. I was out of semi-gloss, so this is just flat. Hopefully it doesn't show too bad, but if it does, I'm not going to do anything about it. It's just going to show. I also picked up new window cranks for this thing because the old ones were very brittle plastic. These were kind of cheap, but also not the cheapest. They work really good, and they're, you know, I think that like a 2-pack was like $5, so it's not that bad. And I'm just going to eyeball this with the top of the frame, because why not? There's that. Definitely makes it look more complete. We do have more of these style frames, but this was kind of the one in the best shape. This screen is kind of loose, so that'll have to be redid at some point. But I picked this one specifically because this is the only one that has these 4 little tabs on it. What these do is actually, these are pretty cool. These like obviously swivel out of the way. They're in the down position, or these, or you know what I'm trying to say. They're like this right now. And then each of these windows, the big ones included, have a little add-on or another piece of glass that you can slide in right here. These windows have another like window pane that you can insert into this right here, and these like clips can swivel down to kind of lock it in place. That way if you're camping in the winter and it's cold, you can have like a double pane window type thing. So that's pretty cool. So to keep this door from opening all the way up, we was going to do some sort of chain. We started thinking the chain is not going to have it any give. Like if I'm camping one day and the door decides to swing open because of the wind, that chain needs to be able to stretch a little bit. That way it just doesn't rip something out of, you know, something. And a lot of door screens have a spring in there for that reason. We did find one of those. We had one downstairs. It was just going to be too bulky. This door right here, obviously, it's a small camper. I feel like he was just going to hit your head on that all the time. So we're not going to go that route. We could have, but we're not. What we are going to do is these bungee straps right here. Went to Harbor Freight this morning because they had some Predator 212 engines on sale. Bought 2 of those because, you know, that's my main way of making money is doing go-karts and mini bikes and stuff. But we picked up these because we're going to modify one of these bungee straps to act as like our chain, so to speak. That way it limits it from opening all the way, but it's also got some bungee or some stretchiness to keep it from opening too fast and then ripping something out of the wood or breaking a screw or something. So that's what we're going to use for that. I'm going to start to look at this, figure out how to modify it, and then I'll come back and report my findings. Okay, so here's what we figured out. This is not what we was going to do originally, but what we was going to do originally was not going to work. So what we had done before is we got one of these little S-hooks, and we put it through that bit right there. Believe it or not, it does fit through that. And then all we're going to do, in this frame, there's a hole for where this was done before, probably. We're just going to put that S-hook right there, and then, you know, attach it to this with another S-hook. That's not going to work, because you do have a little bit of room. You can kind of see through there. You have a little bit of room to put something up there, but it's not a ton. And that S-hook, doing it this way, this is going to kind of bunch up in there and then just not work. So here's the new plan. It's kind of less than ideal, but it will work. This is a bungee strap that I've taken these bits off right there. And I've literally just put wood screws through it. You know, not the hardest thing to imagine or figure up, but that's it right there. I say this is less than ideal because eventually this wood screw... Oh, it turns out, by the way, put gas in the pressure washer, it will fire up. We learned a new thing today. This is rough, and obviously it will eat on the rope over time and cause this to not work, probably. I'm going to put it there, and then somewhere over here we're going to situate it where all the way open, kind of like right here, is where like this bungee strap is starting to get a little bit of tension on it. That way, if you want to open it all the way up, you can. It's a bungee strap, they do stretch. Just something to slow it down, you know. I feel like in a big gust of wind, this bungee strap isn't going to do anything. It's just going to keep opening it. But I think it's better than nothing. That screw didn't really bite in as fast as I thought it would, but I think it'll be fine. Oh, instant problem. Okay. This right here, I think I can just flip it around. That's sticking up, and then obviously not going to work right there. So let me do some more pondering on this. Flipping that over did fix that. I just had it the wrong way, but we're still... Did they make like heavier bungee straps? That may be a stupid question, but that's not... Yeah, that doesn't do anything. I don't know. We do have a more stouter bungee strap mattress right here, but it is ugly, very ugly. It's lime green. Okay, so here's this. I mean, I guess it works. I mean, that's not going to open. Instantly, what I don't like is, well, there's two things. Too light of a chain, really, because when you try to push on the door, it tries to open up pretty much all of these. So it's definitely not heavy enough. Also, when you close this, that is just going to beat this nice, pretty screen thing that I just painted up to pieces going down the road. Also, what if happens if that gets trapped in there? And I don't know. I just think that's going to cause havoc going down the road. Also, I feel like if you're just shifting yourself around in this camper, that's going to be rattling too, right? Here's my latest iteration that I think is the final one, unless I am told otherwise. Maybe it looks the same as the first iteration, but look at this. I'm putting a pretty decent amount of force on that. I won't say that's about 103 mile-per-hour winds that I'm throwing at it, and it's doing pretty good. Let me try to get it to tap it. There you go. That's, I don't know. I feel like if it's that windy, you're going to know it, and you're probably going to be preparing yourself to try to catch the door. So here it is. This is another bungee strap. Yes, it looks like two, and I only said another because it is just one. It's one of the long ones that I have doubled up. I think it is one of the 30-inch bungee straps. Yeah, okay, so that's it right there. Again, I have taken these off, and you'll see both ends are screwed into the frame right here. That doesn't look the best, but I think that's okay. And again, like I was saying before, you're not going to hit your head on this, or you shouldn't, because say you do get close to it, you're going to hit your head on this first, I would think. I have added another little crimp thing. That's just a piece of coat hanger that I have wrapped around there. I think a good one full rotation, and then it's just screwed in right there. So to do that, by the way, that's just the same thing they did right here pretty much. I'm sure they didn't use a coat hanger, but that's what I used. Actually, there's part of it right there. So what I did is I put both of the ends in the vise, and then I kind of stretched it out, and then it took a lot of figuring and maneuvering, but I was able to get that coat hanger wrapped around there. So that is one bungee strap holding it on now. Kind of nice. It does not open as much as I was hoping. I was hoping to get it like at a 90. That's about an 85 degree angle, which I think is going to be okay. So you can kind of see this one's got some slack on it. I designed it like that. You know, this is a, what do they call it? Like a proportional spring rate or whatever. You know, it gets stiffer the more you use it. That's kind of what this is in a way. Not exactly. I did not plan that at all, but it's kind of cool that it worked out like that. That's definitely better than nothing. It will hit if you need it to or want it to. However, if you need this door to open all the way for some reason, you definitely can. I thought it was going to hold itself right there, but I think that project's done. Probably going to move on to the next thing now.
For some reason, I did not describe what this shelf is or where I got it. Maybe it's because it's a shelf and it's not really that exciting. But this right here is an IKEA shelf that My dad actually picked up from a thrift store for like $1.25. If you look on the left side of the camper, above that light, it's already installed. So this was one shelf that we cut in half. And I don't know, it's a place to put your phone and other stuff. It's not that exciting, but like it was $1.25 and it already matches the color scheme. So sure.
There's our solution to charging your phone and where to put your stuff when you go to sleep at night. I think these are originally from like IKEA, but you can see that we just cut it in half to make them fit there. They're kind of just like a little right angle piece. We put them all the way up top. That way, hopefully, you wouldn't put your hit your head on it. So these lights here have a USB port for like a phone charger. You can plug it in, put your phone, wallet, and stuff up there. I think we gave like $1.25 for those, and I think it looks pretty good. Okay, so fast forward a little bit. I think the last thing you saw us do was maybe put these little shelves up in this corner. For the past couple of days, my sister's made these curtains for me. So we've been trying to figure out how to put these in there. They didn't work exactly how we thought they would. So up here, she sewed in a pouch. You may be able to see it for this rod to slide through. These are blackout curtains. They work really good to block out light. They're really good at that, but they're really stiff. So they wouldn't ever slide across that very good or bunch up very good like a curtain would. So we got these up here from Hobby Lobby. These are just some curtain clips on the bottom and on the top. We actually put, let's see if I can find them, some of these little white rings on there because they just blend in better. And actually they're quieter because they're plastic. So these are the rings we got right there. See, they're big metal rings. They're too big, first of all, and they're metal, so they just sound like, I don't know, metal and metal, so they're a little bit too loud. By the way, these are just curtain rods from Walmart. They do kind of just clip in. They don't clip in the best. I'm going to have to like zip tie those on there to make sure they don't fall off going down the road. But pretty much this allows the curtain to fold up, really. It doesn't allow it to bunch up just because the fabric doesn't allow it to do that. But it folds up a little bit. You're able to get the window, open, see some stuff. And then you can just close it like that. The fabric is also from Hobby Lobby. I really like this design. And then somehow or another she glued on this window darkening material on the back because this fabric's pretty much see-through. That's why it was a little bit too stiff. But overall, I think it turned out pretty good. It did. Anyways, I think that's the method we're going to go with. So we just got to do it on the other windows. This one right here is going to be the exact same way. The back and front is going to be a little bit different because the back is obviously smaller. But the front is at an angle, if you can't tell. So it's got to be able to like get trapped on the bottom. So we haven't really figured that out yet. If you're curious, this is how big of a difference that makes. This just came from like the sewing department of Hobby Lobby. I don't know what you're supposed to do with these, but we saw them and it looked like it'd be a pretty good idea. If you don't have white interior, it may look a little bit goofy. I don't know if they make them in other colors, but that's what we did with these. So here's the front. We're still figuring out a way to get the bottom to stay down. We're running into a couple of issues, but we're wanting that to stay down because the front of this thing, if you watch us build it, this bit right here is at a slight angle. So if you push it, there you go. That's how much it needs to go in. We was playing around with that curtain rod right there. We didn't really like it. Over here's another issue because if you pull it back, there's a big old window crank there, and that doesn't look like a lot, but that sticking out right there actually affects it pretty good. So I was thinking about something like this right here. Yeah, but you can see.
But the window crank, those are a problem in there.
Yeah. But like we was talking about, it is usable right now. So fix that in the middle. We like this pretty good because it overlaps one another, which actually takes care of the seam in the middle. These do too. That works pretty good. So this up here with these clips and these rings is not a terrible idea. I say this a lot, or I've been saying this a lot. I think it looks like a shower curtain, but it's not bad. This up here though is just a lot better idea. Where we sewed in those rings behind there.
Thank you.
Yeah, it just looks so much better. And of course, we figured that out on the second and last curtain we put up. So the issue is that, yeah, this looks a lot better, but we can't do that on these because of where these rods had to be so much higher to accommodate for this setup. If we did that on these and we raised it up, they'd just be too short. So we'll just have to keep that idea for the next camper we build. So here it is on the rod. You can see how it works. And that allows it to go pretty high up to cover all this window frame. So the issue before, if we would have used this right here, it probably would have blocked people seeing in, but we saw the top of the window frame and it didn't look good. So this again allows it to go pretty much as high up as we can go with the mounting system we have for these rods. All right, next up on this little teardrop camper is some storage. So in the interior video, we built this little cabinet here in the back. That is really the only storage we have in this thing. So this is it right here. We just made it out of some reclaimed wood we had. This is the biggest area, taken up by an air fryer right now. And then down there, in that bottom shelf is where our battery is, our inverter, solar charger and stuff. That's where all that is. That's the only storage that we have on this camper. And we really need some storage for just like loose ends and stuff, like wheel chocks, the extension cord to plug this thing in the shore power. So we got this off eBay. This is just a little cheap trailer tongue box, storage box thing. I think this was like $70 some off eBay. Looks pretty nice. It's got a handle, has all that stuff. It's got keys. Some pretty good storage. So we could have got one a little bit bigger, but this trailer specifically has this cool little feature. This is actually one of the main reasons we bought it, is that if you unlatch all this stuff and pull some pins, this actually turns into a flatbed trailer. Like, the sides fold down and this front folds down. That line is where this comes down to. So we can't go anything beyond that because we don't really want to get into taking this box off when we want to, take the rails off this thing. So we got it all the way forward. The jack does clear. Of course, the top's up on it, but the jack does clear when you want to jack this thing up. So that's good. So I think all we're going to do to attach this thing is just some self-tappers, and then we can go ahead and start putting some stuff in here, like the extension cord and the wheel chocks and stuff that we need. Okay. All right, next up, we're going to install another spare tire. We've already put this one on here to see if our plan would work for where we wanted to mount it and how. So we just ordered some U-bolts that fit this size, and you can kind of see where we put it. And yes, the side will still come down with it there. I wouldn't drive it like that, but it will still come down. That's good. And here's the U-bolts we ordered just off of Amazon. It is a M10 by those numbers. I think they're like 12 bucks, and then actually came with a wrench, which is fancy. We're also putting 2 of these on here because it would help us get them out of our garage. And also they're very Chinese tires.
Well, if you're going very far, I don't think it's a terrible idea. Since we got them, go ahead and have 2 spares with you.
Now, I'll try to sneak that one in there.
Oh, we can.
I will say this, they include the nicest wrenches.
It is. See that wrench?
Well, don't forget,
Oh, that's good.
I'm gonna
Shiny.
throw one of those in the toolbox. Oh my goodness. Okay, well there's that mounted. I actually think it looks pretty good. The only thing that I really kind of want is a way to cover these, but it's going to be hard to do with how it's mounted. So they're just going to have to dry rot and sun rot. But we got some spare tires on there now.
All right, so believe it or not, the clip that you just watched of us putting those spare tires on was recorded sometime around January or February. And it is currently August of 2026. So this is about probably 6 months later, and I have not recorded anything on that since then because, to be honest, this camper is pretty much done. And I am ashamed to say, since we have finished it, we have used it one time, and that was in March. We took it down to Run to the Sun 2026. It worked really good. It was very comfortable. We spent about 3 days in it. It was awesome. It certainly beat setting up a tent. But since then, right after we got back from that trip, me and my family actually took another camper out in Arizona somewhere for a couple weeks. So that was about a month and a half gone right there. Then we got back, and I started searching for a job because I just graduated from college. I've since got a job, and now we are currently trying to get a Monte Carlo that you may have seen in the background of this video painted. So we don't have a ton of free time. I will say though, after editing this video, I really want to go camping in this camper. Since I have a full-time teaching job now, you can imagine I can only really do that on the weekends in the summer now. The summer we'll probably do a little bit, but I was just looking at the weather. This Friday is looking pretty promising. It's actually going to be in the low 80s. That might be pretty comfortable. I don't know. I want to go out and use this thing, so I might just do that. So this video is going up tonight, and I would expect before too long a video of us going out and using this thing because I really am in the mood to go and do this. You may have noticed a Bronco 2 in the background, and in fact in one of the latest videos we actually went out and drove or test drove this camper for the very first time with that Bronco. I've since taken that thing off the road. I just decided I want something a little bit nicer, and that thing started to have a few issues that I don't know. It's old vehicle stuff, but that one specifically, you would fix one thing, and it did not matter. It would come back, and it just never ran right. So that being said, I need another four-wheel drive, and I think I'm gonna go with something more tried and true. So another platform that is a little bit more popular. So I've got a Jeep XJ in the backyard that I am going to be building out and hopefully taking this camper with to some places. I'm definitely going to do a full walkthrough tour at some point of this camper, probably pretty soon. And I'm sure this camper's not 100% done. There's some stuff that it needs. We just really got to get it back out of storage and actually use the thing to figure that out. Anyways, I got to teach in the morning, so I'm going to go to bed, let this video edit overnight, and then hopefully it'll be up for y'all in the morning. Thanks for watching.